Welcome into Hockey Sense, everybody. Brought to you by First Community. Great to have you with us, as always, for our Friday tradition. I'm Andy Strickland. Great to be with you. Got another great show planned for you today. Jamal Mayers is going to be here. We're going to get into a lot of stuff, even surrounding the Blues. This is kind of a tough show. I've got to travel today. So technically, the Canada-Finland semifinal starts in about an hour and a half from now, so we're not going to be able to break down the gold medal game. But we may just assume Canada and USA are going to get to the gold medal and see what it looks like. USA obviously playing later on this afternoon. So when this comes out, unfortunately, we will not be previewing the gold medal game just based on the timing of when we recorded this. But we do have some good conversations coming up. Jamal Mayers is going to join us. And then also Jeff Finley, who played over 700 games in the NHL, several years with the Blues. His son, Jack Finley, just got picked up on waivers from Tampa Bay. He's now playing in St. Louis. So we'll see him coming up after the break. Next Thursday is when the Blues get going against Seattle at home. It's hard to believe that we are almost through the break. It's gone by pretty fast. I wonder if fans have enjoyed the break. Do you like the break? Do you not like the break? Regardless, it is what it is, and that's where we're at right now. So Jack Finley now playing for the Blues. I used to love covering his dad, Jeff, back in the day. Really, really good guy. Very understated player. He just went out there and did his job. Played a lot with Al McInnes. I enjoyed watching him play. He was a professional on and off the ice. Very quiet. Didn't say too much, but if you got to know him, he would certainly talk. So I'm looking forward to the conversation with Finner, as Pavel Dmitry used to always call him. So Dmitry used to give me trouble back in the day. I was a super young reporter, just kind of learning, finding my way into the NHL. And it was Chris Pronger and Pavel Dmitry who said, hey, listen, you got to start wearing suits to games if you want to be taken serious. Now, I wasn't doing television at the time. I'm like, suits? He's like, yeah, you got to wear a suit. That's classy, man. That's how you look professional when you go cover an NHL game. So I would wear a suit, and Pavel Dmitry used to always yell, Finner, what do you think? What do you think? Finner, what do you think? So I loved having Pavel Dmitry around, and obviously Jeff Finley. Looking forward to that conversation coming up later on today. And we'll get into some things with Jammer about the upcoming trade deadline, what he would do, what he wouldn't do. We'll talk a little Sidney Crosby. He's got that injury. He's not expected to play in the semifinal today. But who knows? He could play in the gold medal game. I've been texting with some doctors who obviously aren't treating Sidney Crosby. Okay, so let me just be clear with that. So sometimes I see this type of stuff on Twitter, and I get annoyed just like you. But I do, at the same time, like to get their opinion when they look at the video of his injury and what they see just with their own medically trained eye when they're looking at Sidney Crosby's injury. And a few of the doctors that I've reached out to say that it's definitely an MCL. Looks like an MCL. And I said, well, how do you play with that? And he said, two of them said, you got to shoot it up and then brace it and see how he feels. So this will 100% be Sidney Crosby's decision. You have to keep the Pittsburgh Penguins abreast as to what's going on as well. They're in a playoff chase and obviously hope to make the playoffs and get back in there. And we all know how important Crosby is to that team. I mean, they can't make the playoffs without Sidney Crosby. What I was thinking earlier was, what if Mike Sullivan was still coaching the Penguins? And he's the head coach of Team USA. Would he be getting all the medical information to know exactly what's going on with Crosby, even though they could be facing one another in the gold medal game? It's always kind of a fascinating situation. The Blues are back skating now. They're back at practice, obviously minus the Olympians, who will start finding their way back. Pius Suter, he got knocked out, had a nice little run there with Switzerland. He should be happy with the way that he played. Broberg on his way back, got some great experience, played a lot of minutes for Sweden, had a role, right? He wasn't one of these guys that played a complete game and didn't play at all, like you saw with some other players with Sweden, or saw very limited ice time. So, Philip Broberg is going to be a big part of Team Sweden for years to come. He almost made the Four Nations last year. He was one of the last cuts, and he was notified that he would be an alternate in the event of an injury. So an interesting situation. We had Craig Button on the Cam and Strick podcast, and he was like hot take central. I mean, everything he said was hot take, hot take, hot take. I love it, man. Cam and I love it when you come on the podcast and you just bring the heat. Craig Button brought the heat, and I love that about him. Very opinionated, but he's got some credibility, too. He's been around the game for a long, long time. But, what he had to say about the Sweden and Finland and some of these other European coaches just being completely overmatched against the powers of North America who are led by NHL coaches. So we'll see if that stays true. What if Canada loses to Finland today? I thought Canada was going to lose to Czechia the other day, man. I really did. I'm watching that game, and, when Czechia takes a 3-2 lead late in the game, I'm like, wow, this is really going to happen. And then they obviously tied it with Nick Suzuki's game-tying goal. Marty Necas had a breakaway at the end of the game. There was no call on the play. If that's during an NHL game or certainly earlier in the game, you can be sure that the referee's arm is probably going up and a penalty is being called in that situation. I know people are screaming for a penalty there, but hey, listen, that's referee's discretion. Put the whistle away at that stage of the game with what's on the line. I just don't know if you can make that call right then and there. Now, if you take them down, then maybe it's a different situation. But Nature's still got a shot on goal, and Jordan Binnington made the save. Happy for Binnington, man. Big game Binner. I love it. No surprise, right? This is kind of what he does. This is Jordan Binnington in a nutshell. This is why I hope he never leaves the Blues, although you never know how that's going to play out over the course of the next week. Is Connor McDavid trying to convince Jordan Binnington to come to Edmonton? You think there's some recruiting going on inside that Canadian dressing room? I'm sure there is. You can be 100% sure that there definitely is. But we'll see how it plays out. We get into the draft and everything with Craig Button, too. So if you haven't listened to that interview, and he's all over the World Juniors, amateur players, go listen to that over there on the Cam and Strick podcast. All right, so Jamal Mayers is coming in. We'll save some of the talk with him about what the Blues should and shouldn't do. Again, they're back at practice. It looks like Pavel Buchnevich is going to stay as center, and Braden Schen's going to stay on the wing. Now, how long is Schenn going to be here in St. Louis? Is he a guy that's potentially on the move? Justin Falk, another player. I mean, what is this roster going to look like in another 2 weeks or so? March 6th is the trade deadline, so we'll obviously know between now and March 6th what it's going to look like. There's a lot of rumors out there, people talking about the Boston Bruins being interested in Falk. I will say Utah is a team to pay attention to, I think. If the Blues are going to trade, I'm talking a monster like a Robert Thomas or Jordan Kyrou, which people continue to talk about. I wouldn't do it personally. I mean, you just got to look at this season as a one-off and try to surround these guys with better players. Try to add to your roster. Make this roster as complete and as competitive as possible with good players on it. And, you're not loaded with a lot of offensive skill as it is, and so to move on from some of these guys would be hard. But I guess it all depends on what you're getting in return. You're getting some quality pieces coming back that make you better than who am I to say they shouldn't make the deal. But Utah. Pay attention to Utah when it comes to those two guys. First Community brings us Hockey Sense each and every week. Sign your son or daughter up for Little Blues and do it today. Comes with all their equipment, skates, stick, everything. So you don't have to go to the hockey shop and try to figure out what you're supposed to get and what you're not supposed to get. It comes with everything, great instruction, get quality ice, reasonable cost too. And it's all brought to you by First Community. Nobody gives back to St. Louis hockey more than First Community. They also present the St. Louis Blues Hall of Fame. What a night we had a few weeks ago with the Blues Hall of Fame. Great induction ceremony there, and they continue to get it done. Lots of banking options for you as well. So check out their website, firstcommunity.com, and see how you can save and best utilize your finances, your money with First Community. Dirt cheap, fun, your one-stop party shop. Download the app today because that's where you get all the deals. The deals are so good they call them steals. as a matter of fact. And that's true. Look at the website. You'll see all the steals that are on there. And you get free delivery if you use the promo code BLUES if you live within 10 miles of a dirt cheap store. So cheap, cheap, fun, fun, your one-stop party shop. Don't sleep on the party goods. If you've got St. Patrick's Day parties coming up, anything else happening, graduation parties around the corner, start stocking up now. Get everything you need, beer, wine, and booze, but also the party supplies from our friends over at Dirt Cheap Fun Fun, your one-stop party shop. They're the best. The Wallace family continue to get it done. Nobody gets it done like the Wallace family when it comes to dirt cheap and everything else that they do to support St. Louis. And take St. Louis to the next level, one dirt cheap at a time. You know, we certainly love that. Blue Note Roofing, David Novak, call him today, 314-920-5713. Get that free estimate. Wind, hail damage, soffit, fascia, siding, roofing, whatever it is. They work with all the big insurance companies. They'll take great care of you. He'll also talk pucks with you. That's right, 314-920-5713. You see the sign behind me, 314-920-5713. David Novak, Blue Note Roofing, moved into a new office. Big shout out to David. Congrats on that. This guy is the absolute best. We're going to have him in studio here coming up within sometime over the course of the next few weeks with David Novak from Blue Note Roofing. Again, 314-920-5713. David Novak, Blue Note Roofing. Lordo's Diamonds, say hi to Mike and Jimmy and find out why they've been around for almost 70 years. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? No, I'm not. Mike and Jimmy Lordo, you come in there with a $500,000 budget or a $500 budget or a $100 budget. Guess what? You're going to get treated exactly the same. The same customer service. Best place in St. Louis for engagement rings and anything else you're looking for. Anniversary jewelry, whatever it is, men's jewelry. They got some great watches too, so check that out. LordosDiamonds.com, right there in the heart of Ladue, right next to Truffles. Can't miss it. 314-432-8008. 314-432-8008 for Lordo's Diamonds. LordosDiamonds.com. Check it out online. Do it today. All right, let's step aside. Jamal Mayers joins me next. Jeff Finley, former St. Louis Blue. His son Jack is now a member of the Blues. We're going to talk to him coming up later in the show as well. Lots of great stuff ahead. Hope you're enjoying the Olympics. Hope you're enjoying Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. Stay with us. All right, back here in Hockey Sense. Jammer, back in the house.
What's up, bud?
How
are you part of a ski team or what's going on?
This is Stiefel is the title sponsor of the U.S. ski team.
Yes, I know that.
Not necessarily the Olympic ski team, but yes, so they gave us these jackets, and they're also the title sponsor of the Canvas Trick podcast also. So I'm representing my Team USA. I'm actually, it's cold today.
It is.
And we're off to Madison, Wisconsin, where it's like 20 degrees.
Ooh.
I'm going to see Wisconsin play Michigan tonight. Should be a good game.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Isn't Michigan number one or like close?
Michigan State, I think, is number one. And then Michigan's right up there, maybe two.
Yeah, I think Western Michigan, number 4, I think.
Yeah. Michigan, all the Michigans taking over.
Pretty good.
I know. Have you been to a game at the Kohl Center before?
I have not.
Oh, my God.
In Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
Great spot.
It is.
It's a great spot. I mean, that would be an unbelievable place to play college hockey, too.
You know what? The Midwest is so blessed with so many unreal options. There's literally like 8 to 10 really good programs.
I know. Yeah. I know. But like last time, like in Madison, it's the whole campus is surrounded by the lake.
Yes.
And it was completely frozen over. And there's just kids playing shinny hockey all day long. And college students hanging out and whatever, just walking around on the lake. It's just like, I don't know, it was a really cool scene last time I was there. So I would imagine we'll see the same thing. Maybe we'll take the kids to go
That's awesome.
skate on the lake.
I like it. Bring an extra pair of blades.
I know. Does that make you nervous to go skate on my wife flips out every time we talk about it, so she
No,
won't be there.
When you see the natives, the people from there doing it,
Yeah.
it's fine. I wouldn't do it in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm. People do, though, all the time.
Oh, that's crazy.
You don't do it in St. Louis ever?
No.
Do you think that it messes up your skates?
It does.
Yeah.
100%.
How many sets of blades do you take to the games for your kid?
Crew has 3 pairs.
3 pairs. And do you change them during the games?
No, not unless like something terrible happens.
My kids too. You see the dads show up at the bench all the time. It changes blades.
Yeah.
You know, my thing is this, because we had a game a week or two ago, and my kid lost an edge. He was falling everywhere, like just like sliding across the ice. It was obvious he couldn't turn. But you know, you just gotta find a way. Sometimes you gotta find a way to fight through it. Like,
think about it. When we were kids, did that ever happen?
No.
You just leaned on your left leg a little bit more because you couldn't get your skate sharpened until the next day. Like,
or after the game. Well, what were you supposed to do? Nothing will change his blades.
No, just if you're going to turn right, then do
Yeah.
it like a skier, lean on your left leg a little bit more.
Yeah. What, is that what you do in skiing? You lean on which leg?
Skiing is the opposite of skating.
Really?
So if you want to turn left
Mm-hmm.
in skiing,
You lean
use your right leg.
Oh, I got you.
You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
Yeah.
in skating, you use your inside leg.
Yeah. Have you enjoyed the Olympics?
Unbelievable. My favorite, short track.
Oh my God, the speed skating.
Oh,
So let me ask you this: do you think if Connor McDavid or Nathan McKinnon, one of these guys, Cale Makar, if they put speed skates on, like they would be just as fast as those guys, or no?
on the longer track. The short track, I think the advantage is to be smaller.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 100% they would be able to do it.
Really?
Yes.
And vice versa. I don't know if you put hockey skates on these speed skaters, if they would just be flying around. Maybe they
They'd
would
be fast, but hockey takes a lot more things.
Those skates are just insane to look at.
Pretty cool.
The speed skates. I know.
But I've also enjoyed the skiing, the jumping, the racing,
I know.
and the new camera angle where they have behind them, where you get an appreciation for how fast they're going.
And how high they go, yeah.
It's like, that's insane.
I know. So the Olympics are kind of like, it's cool because never, like any other time during the year, you wouldn't stop to watch any of these events, really. You know what I'm saying?
Very true.
If they were on TV. But the Olympics makes it a little bit different. Real quick, we're going to have Jeff Finley on.
Yes.
Your former teammate. And it's kind of crazy, right? When you have former teammates whose kids are now playing in the night. You've already been through that, obviously, with a couple other guys, including Keith Kachuk. So, but Jeff Finley, like, what do you remember about him as a teammate?
Great guy, quietly funny, had good one-liners, staying home defenseman,
Mhm.
like great guy, just played the game the right way and showed up every day, just supporting his teammates, and
Yeah.
not surprising that he's in, leadership capacity in the NHL and
Yeah.
on that side of it.
He found a home here in St. Louis when he was playing, because he's kind of like bouncing around a little bit, played with the Rangers
have
and
4
some other
kids.
teams. Do they really?
Yeah, 3 boys and a girl.
Yeah, last I saw him was in at Matthew Kachuk's draft party at the draft in 2016. I think he was working with Kelowna at the time, because I don't know who he was working with at the time, but he was coaching in Kelowna in the Western League a few years back too. So I don't know. We'll find out what he's up to now. But now his son got claimed off waivers from Tampa Bay. Now he's playing with the Blues. He's going to wear that old 37 too.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's the best part.
I know. He's big. He's like 6'6".
He is. And I didn't realize he was a forward. He's a center.
Yeah.
So when I covered a couple of games earlier, maybe last year or this year, and I'm like,
did you put two and two together?
yeah, I did.
You
Finley looked it up, and it was pretty cool.
All right, so the Olympics, it's hard. We can't break down the gold medal game. But I got to ask you first off, Sweden, and we had Craig Button on the Canister podcast, and he was, just let loose on the coaching for some of these European countries and how they're just overmatched against the NHL coaching with NHL players and whatnot. But what's your take on that? I mean, you got guys who played 1,100 games in the NHL still playing, who like sit on the bench for an entire game against Italy.
Well, this is how I know it's flawed.
Mm-hmm.
When you've got the smaller player from New Jersey, what's his name? Who didn't play for 2 periods.
Oh, Jesper Bratt.
Let's take him for an example.
And then he was unbelievable.
You don't play him for 2 periods at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then you decide to play him in the third and in overtime. That tells me you don't know what you're doing.
Forsberg didn't play the first game, maybe a minute, and then he's in the power play the next game.
Yeah, it's one thing to say, like, I don't like this player, I'm not going to play these 2 guys.
Yeah.
But then to change it mid-game, change it game to game, my opinion is there's so many unbelievable, because it's on a smaller ice surface,
Mm-hmm.
they should have went with a former Swedish NHL player that's now a coach, but NHL experience.
Yeah, but they don't even have to be Swedish. Do you know Finland?
True.
The players were really pushing, from what I hear, internally to have Paul Maurice be their coach. There was a lot of talk about that. In fact, Jamie Kompon, who obviously we've known for a long time, is an assistant coach with Germany right now. He's on the bench in Germany. So, and I asked him before he went over, I said, how does that work? Did you play in Germany? Are you German? You don't have to be. So I just wonder as we move along, I can't wait to ask Alexander Steen his opinion on it. And I would imagine, because he's part of management, and he has more of a North American thinking, I think, when it comes to the game? I mean, he's not going to throw anybody under the bus, but I'm just curious to know his opinion.
I think that's to me, I still think both countries, Finland and Sweden, have enough unbelievable former NHL players that are now coaches, probably in Europe or other places, that have the NHL experience, that can lean on that. They don't have to go outside their country. Germany, I get it. They don't have that many former NHL players. But Sweden and Finland, come on.
I know, and Finland has NHL general managers on their management team, like Jarmo Kekalainen, for example, and different people like that. So who knows? They might beat Canada today. You never know. They may end up beating Canada before it's all said and done. Czechia could have, you can maybe even say should have beaten.
I don't know about should have.
Well,
6 guys on the ice, that helps.
Okay, that's true. But I'm just saying should have from the standpoint that they had they had a 1-goal lead late in the third period.
Yeah, okay.
And they had a breakaway, Marty Natchez. If that's earlier in the game or if that's an NHL game, that's 100%.
I was so happy for Binner.
Yes.
How about that save and then the overtime save?
Oh, yeah. Guy coming right down Broadway.
Comes right out.
Challenges.
Huge save.
That's what he does. It's like the most Jordan Binnington thing of all time. It's just for him just to flip a switch and lock in. Although some people are still being critical because they don't like some of the goals that he's let.
Oh, are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's all about winning, buddy.
Like, if you're Doug Armstrong, how do you view this now? Do you say, okay, well, now I can really maximize my return if I want to move him? Or do you say, hey, this guy is I just love having him. I don't want to move on from him.
Well, I think you do two things. You evaluate whether or not you and your staff and coaching staff believe that Hofer can be a 1. If Hofer can be a number 1, then you have to make a decision. His stock, Binner's, is never going to be higher. So if you don't plan on keeping him for the next 5 years, then you move. You move him. And that sounds harsh, but his value is never going to be greater. You talk about retooling this group, and it's not the group that's going to win a cup, obviously. And you want to retool things, and you believe in Hofer, then you wait, you put it out there around the league that Binner is available, and you try to get ahead of the market for teams that are looking down the stretch for a number 1 goaltender. And you make your move.
Yeah. And I would imagine he's already done that. I mean, the trade deadline is just another week or so away, right? March 6th, it's coming up. So he knows where he can probably move him and probably what he can even get in return. And now it's about trying to maximize that return. And I think teams probably wanted to see what he was going to do at the Olympics because he hasn't had a great season. So is it about who he's playing with here in St. Louis or who's in front of him, or had he lost it? I think we kind of see that answer. He certainly hasn't lost it.
Well, if you're Edmonton, I think you're kind of kicking yourself that you went ahead and made the Jari deal, in my opinion, because now you could have made this deal.
Well,
you could look for a deal.
They could still maybe do that, but Binnington does have a limited no trade list, and from what I understand, Edmonton was on there.
Oh, that's silly.
So
they went to the final twice. Doesn't want to live in Edmonton. I get it, but you can live in Edmonton for 4 years.
For 1 year.
We still have 1 year left?
Yeah, after this year.
Okay. Even better.
But, I would imagine Connor McDavid's doing some recruiting right now.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think they could still make that deal. And who knows? Maybe the Blues would have to take Jari coming back the other way,
Which wouldn't be terrible.
So, and they don't have a guy in the system right now who you could say, hey, can come up and be a backup next year. They would need to go get a backup goaltender for Hofer.
Oh, I like that. I like that move.
Not 1 for 1.
No.
Yeah.
And
he's a throw-in.
Roster players.
Yes.
And your top prospect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there from that standpoint. How tough is it, do you think, for some are being critical of a guy like Sam Reinhart, for example? He hadn't been overly noticeable in a lot of these games. I mean, these guys are so used to being prominent players on their teams and then all of a sudden have to take a back seat. Should John Cooper be guilty of playing McDavid and McKinnon and these guys too much?
No.
Versus trusting some of these other players that you have on the team who are superstar players to maybe get out there and get the job done as well. I'm not saying they shouldn't play more than everybody else, but you know what I'm saying? The ice time is certainly tilted.
Every team in every environment, there's going to be the hierarchy that you're seeing. It is unfair to look at a guy like Reinhart who's playing in the bottom 6 and expect him to produce like he's doing with his team, with his club team.
Oh,
That's
exactly.
not his role.
Right.
That's not why
It's
he's
not a
there.
power play, though.
He's accepted what he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
He's not in the rhythm of what he's normally doing
Right.
either. It's all about winning at this point. They're in the semifinals. It's not about, is McKinnon not producing 5-on-5? What's going on with Reinhart? He's not
Mhm.
producing. This Marchand's in and out. It's not about that
Mhm.
in this moment. For both teams, US and Canada.
Yeah.
Whatever they're accepting of their role.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so much ice to go around. They're not going to score 12 goals a game and produce like they do for their regular team. It's about winning. So the guys who are producing, the Macklins, the McDavids, the McCarrs, those are the guys that have been put in that position to be the guys for this team, and they're expected to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I would be more concerned that they have to continue to do that.
Yeah.
Same thing for US. The guys who have been producing offensively for them are going to have to continue in the semifinal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't get to the halfway through the semifinal and be like, "Oh, we'd like Reinhart to do it now."
Yeah.
He's going to be like, "What are you talking about? You didn't ask me
No, I
to
know.
do that."
It's probably tough for him to stay locked in during the game. I mean, not to say that he's not.
No.
It's a big, but like you're not. I don't know when the last time he's been in that situation. Right?
Very true, but I think this is different because you're playing for your country.
No, I get that.
It's Olympics. It's if it's the playoffs, he's playing for his own team. It's semifinals, and this happened. A lot more different.
Do you think, okay, and I'm not being critical at all. I'm really curious. It's just interesting, these Olympic teams. I mean, so much goes into it, Jamal. There's so many people on management. So many, they're spending so much time combing over every player. I mean, to go play France and Italy, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, you take Trocheck, you take JT Miller.
Yes.
We need this guy to do X, Y, and Z because they have a specific role, but you don't bring a Caulfield, you don't bring a Jason Robertson, for example, who's a top 10 scorer in the league. And for other guys, do they overthink this is my question.
A little bit. I think on the Trocheck piece, I like the player.
Mhm.
He, in my opinion, should never have been out there in the overtime.
I think they had him out there just to take the phase off.
Whatever.
He's got to get
It's
off.
a mistake.
Yeah.
Because if you lose, is it really, you got Austin Matthews is good at faceoffs.
Exactly.
If he loses a faceoff, really, are you okay? Is he good defensively? Yes.
Jack Eichel could.
It's going to be okay.
Eichel-
Jack Eichel can take the faceoff. Like, stop with this specialist taking the faceoff and then changing. Because if he only wins at a 58%, let's call it 60.
Yeah.
It's just, you have a 40% chance he loses.
I know.
Then he stays on the ice for a minute and a half.
I know.
No.
I know.
Makes no sense.
And he can't get off.
So, yeah, they overthink those types of moves.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I'm only talking about those.
But not JT Miller. See him blocking shots late in games?
Oh, yeah.
With his freaking shoulder.
Took some heat for the turnover and the.
It's fine. I think you got a slot, like we talk about, slotting guys into the right spaces. I think there's a comfortability with the player that you coach in Trocheck's sense. Perhaps is playing a little bit more than necessary because he coaches him.
Right.
That would be the only thing that needs some refinement, in my opinion.
What if, I was thinking about this with Crosby going down, and no one knows what the injury is. I have reached out to some doctors to say, hey, what do you think it is? And like, they both said, probably an MCL. You can inject it, put a brace on it, and it's up to him how much pain he can tolerate and how he feels, obviously. And with a player like Crosby, he's going to be the one to make the call. No one's going to tell him whether he's going to play or not. But could you imagine if Sullivan was still the coach of Pittsburgh? Like, would he still get all the information as to what's going on, even though they may face each other in the gold medal game? He would have to know, like, how his player is doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
It would have been interesting if he was still coaching Pittsburgh, but he's not, so I guess it doesn't matter. But
Well, they can dress a 13 forward, right? I wonder, can they put 14 forwards out there for warm-up?
Probably.
Because you always can put an extra one, right? So my guess is that he probably takes warm-up if he's at 60%. And if he's at 60%, maybe he sits on the bench.
Do you dress him if he can't play? Knowing you can have a 13th forward?
No, I don't.
You don't do that?
No. Because optically, there's this visual reminder every time you come to the bench. Frick, we don't have our leader. They've got enough leaders. Let them have the inspiration in between periods because he'll be there supporting them. But in the game, I think even he would feel like it's a distraction.
All right, a couple more minutes here. I'm just going to name a couple players. You tell me what you do here at the deadline. So we'll start with Braden Shen.
Trade him.
Justin Falk.
Trade him.
I mean, there's some other guys, the Oscar Sundquist of the world, these guys who are on expiring contracts
Yeah.
or whatever. And I think there could be some teams that are, hey, bring on an extra forward who
Sure.
has some experience, perform well in the playoffs, and can do a lot of the little things we're talking about, kill penalties and whatnot.
Yeah.
How different do you think this team's going to look?
Well, you haven't mentioned Kyrou. Trade him. Thomas. Keep him.
You would trade Kyrou.
Yes.
You would.
I think you need to change the makeup of the core.
Okay.
And shake the tree.
You wouldn't rather add, they need to add pieces, like, because I look at Kyrou and I don't disagree. He'll go somewhere else and he's going to thrive.
Yes.
Okay. Like in a different environment. Maybe he's been a little bit of the scapegoat here, but you're also asking this guy to like lead a team where it's not his personality. And like, this guy's drafted in the second round. It wasn't like a top 10 pick. You just got to slot. If he was slotted in a little bit differently from a leadership standpoint or what your expectation, like let him just go out there and play, and you had elite players around him that he could play with.
100%. But that's 5 years from now. That's 3-4 years from now.
Okay.
Right? Like they're not at that point. Yeah. If they were a really good team, like a top 15 team,
Yeah.
then he'd be perfectly slotted in, and he is a perfect player.
Which is what he will be with wherever he probably
100%.
goes. Right?
He's a top, unbelievable complementary player.
Yeah.
But for a team that's retooling and what you can get back and what's all the stuff that's gone on, I think he needs a reset. I think you can live through, and it's very difficult to find players of Thomas's caliber, especially centermen that play all situations. To me, he's the piece that stays, that is untouchable. Broberg, untouchable. Benner, you got to make a decision on. But I think you got to look.
Hugh Suter. It's got 1 year left.
You might keep him because you're going to go out and get a Pia Suter. You know what I mean? Like you're going to need a depth center that can play 12 games in the top 6 that plays in the bottom 6, kills penalties.
He's a good player too.
I think you keep him.
Yeah. The Thomas situation, for me, it comes down to, is he asking for a trade? Does he want out? You know what I mean? And if he's not, then I'm 100% in agreement with you. And I don't say you trade him just because he wants out either, but it's just, you just never know what the player's thinking internally either. This is such a unforeseen season. Nobody saw this coming, you know?
I think that's emotion, right? I think you can have candid conversations with him, with people you trust, and can get him back on board to stay. I think you keep him and you convince him to stay, that it's the best thing for him.
Okay. No, I'm with you there. He'd be tough to replace.
Yeah, unbelievably tough.
All right, so who brings you to Hockey Sense today?
Well, first of all, we got Barlino's. They got 5 restaurants: Barlino's South, Barlino's Osteria, Chris's Pancake and Dining, Chris's at the Dock, and Barlino's Twin Oaks. My favorite, the new one. You know, you've been there a few times. They forge many lasting relationships with their customers. Their family model: cook good food, serve plenty. 50+ years in business. Only 2 places to dine: at home or at one of Barlino's family of restaurants.
Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. You may need it with the rain coming up.
I'll tell you what. I can't get this weather. It's like cold, hot, 60 degrees, 30 degrees. Take a jacket. Don't bring a jacket.
Wear your ski coat.
I mean, indoors, you're ready. It's like, you even ski?
No.
Well, you're right, though, about Dobbs. They do everything. 43 locations around all over the St. Louis area. They've got all unbelievable deals on winter tire deals, the best brands, including $275 savings on Goodyear tires, plus other unbelievable deals on Coopers, Continentals, BF Goodrich. And the best thing about them, doesn't matter what you drive, a car, light truck, van, SUV, hybrid, EV, Dobbs has a team of tire technicians and ASC certified associates to service them well. Go to Dobbs.com for more.
And then my girl Angie Hess over at Spas and More.
I know you're trying to steal this sponsor because this guy wants his own. He's thinking like cold tub, hot tub, sauna. I want that.
Get in the hot tub.
Oh, of course you are.
Yeah, the hot tub.
I'm not shocked. Probably put him on another one of your platforms or shows. But anyway, Spas and More is a local master spa dealer with 2 locations: Sunset Hills, Missouri, and Overland Park in Kansas City. As you mentioned, Mike Leahy's the owner. Master Spas is an American hot tub and swim spa manufacturer located in Fort Wayne. They are the largest hot tub and swim spa manufacturer in the U.S. They have the Michael Phelps chili coat tubs. I know you're going to want to come over. Make sure you shower before you come over if you want to try it. Angie S. runs the show there at Sunset Hills. They've got unbelievable deals on hot tubs, swim spas, cold tubs, infrared saunas for all of your health, wellness, and relaxation needs. Turn your backyard oasis into the place of your dreams with master spas from Spas and More. Spas and More, located at 12957 Gravois Road in Sunset Hills, where we put the
in
spa.
All right. Thanks for bringing crew over today.
Yes.
No hockey this weekend?
Just practices.
Yeah.
So we're
And-
dialing in for our last.
For
We got a game on Sunday. Our last
Blue Note
Cup game. Well, hopefully it's our last. We have to win,
Mm-hmm.
and then we've got regionals in Wisconsin. So,
What do you mean? Hopefully it's your last. How does that work? Isn't this?
well, it's a best of 3.
Oh, it
So
is.
we've won the first. We got to win the second. or else
So
we-
that's how they do it. So the Blue Note Cup is awarded to the best. So it's best of 3 series.
it's a best of 3. Yep. It has to be best.
Our age, it's like a 1 game.
Well, when you're younger,
Yeah.
you bake in your. Still a best of 3, but you've already played them twice, correct?
Oh. We played. Yeah. Whatever.
So
yeah.
they baked in those are part of the best of 3.
Okay. Yeah. Well, good luck with everything.
You too this week.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
As always. And then what do you have left after that? That's it?
Well, then we have regionals.
Oh, you do. So you're at
So
that
we have to
age
win
now.
that,
Okay.
and we go to Wisconsin,
For regionals.
Yeah.
Okay.
and so we'll if we do well there, then we go to nationals.
Okay. I love it.
So
All right.
we're national bound, baby.
All right. Good luck. And then how are the 13s doing at the Pew Quebec right now? Do we
They've
know?
won. They've advanced. They won a game. The second game,
Yeah.
they beat I forget who, an American team, but they advanced.
Okay. And then real quick, how does that work? So you only play 2 games. You play a couple exhibition games, then you play just 2 games in the tournament.
Great question. So you play 2 real games,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you can't lose the second game. You have to win one of the first 2 games. If you win one of the first real 2 games,
Mm-hmm.
then you advance. What happens is if you lose both, you make friendly games with the organization,
Got it.
with the organizers, and they tell you, oh, you want to play? And you could say, we'd like to play a European team,
Right.
and then you could say, oh, we want to play a team that we've never played,
Right.
and they kind of manage it and make it work.
Okay. Great experience, I would imagine.
Then you got to bring cash because your team manager is giving them cash to pay for the ice, and like,
really?
yeah, it's a whole little thing
Okay.
they got going on.
Just win.
Just win one of the first.
But
2.
they did, and they're playing today. I think against I forgot who they're playing today. So New York, maybe the Rangers or somebody.
Yeah.
So, which is that Mid Fairfield? I guess that's Mid Fairfield, right?
You know what happened to us in our second
What's
game?
that?
We were down.
Oh yeah, I remember
7
hearing about this.
to 1, I believe, or something crazy. After like 15 shots, both goalies were pulled in. They
Yeah.
both let in 4. It was 8 something. We pulled the goalie with 13 minutes left in the third period, and scored I think 5 or 6 goals to make it 7-6. Yeah, 8-6. We made
Oh my
it 8-7. We almost tied it up.
Oh my God, I remember hearing about that.
Pretty crazy.
All right, thanks for coming in.
Yep.
See you soon. All right, so Jeff Finley. You never know, like, who's going to be on the show. Like, if you would have told me 2 or 3 weeks ago, hey, yeah, we're going to have Jeff Finley. His son's going to be playing for the Blues. Like, I wouldn't have believed you. It's, like, amazing how things happen. And, Jeff, I remember a couple weeks ago, Tampa Bay was in St. Louis, and we're doing our preparation prior to the game, and I see a Finley on their team, and sure enough, it's your kid. He's way bigger than you, by the way. Just so you I mean, where's his height come from?
And he's a better player too.
Is he?
My dad was 6'4", 6'5", so he gets the height from my dad. Yeah,
Okay.
who he's named after as well.
Jack. Okay, I love it. So was that a surprise for you? Did you know St. Louis maybe would have some interest when he was put on waivers?
Well, after he went on waivers, we heard there was quite a few teams that had interest, and St. Louis was one of them. I think the surprise was more that he went on waivers and the timing of it. He had played that last game before the break. I watched the game, actually thought he played well. I thought he was playing well in the role that he was given there. He was in and out of the lineup, kind of 13th forward, played 8-9 minutes when he was in. I thought he did okay for what they were expecting of him. And then I think he was a little bit blindsided by it. Fortunately it worked out well for him. And I think hopefully it's going to be a great opportunity for him in St. Louis.
Yeah. So again, you played here for several years back in the early 2000s, and you had a long career. Where was he raised? Like, where'd you raise your family after you were done playing, Jeff?
In Kelowna, BC. Yep. So I took a year off after I retired. Well, actually, after the 2004 lockout, I went over and played a year in Germany.
Yeah, I saw that.
Really enjoyed that. We had 3 of our 4 kids at the time. Went more as much for the life experience as anything. But we really enjoyed it over there. And then I took a year off when I came back. I coached for 2 years. I coached junior hockey in Kelowna. I was assistant coach with the Rockets. And then I got into scouting. So I've been, but we've been in Kelowna ever since I retired.
All right. So what are you doing now? Because I know you're in Winnipeg, but you're not living in Winnipeg. But I didn't even know you were working with the Jets. So what are you doing with the Jets?
Amateur scouting. So I was 10 years with Detroit, amateur scouting. And now this is year 7 with the Jets.
Okay. So your territory is where? Are you all over the place, or you kind of stick around in one area?
Yeah. No, I'm in charge of Western Canada, but I go all over North America. I don't go to Europe, but I go all over North America. I just did a 2-week trip all over Ontario, down into the US. And so, yeah, I go all over.
So when you're amateur scouting and you're doing all your traveling, and there's so many people that you played with and played against who have now gotten involved from a scouting standpoint. You run into a lot of former teammates. I mean, I would imagine you see Big Walt occasionally. I mean, that's gotta be
Absolutely.
fun, right?
It is fun. You're right. It is fun. I do see Big Wald out in the trail. I just ran into Jamie McLennan in Vancouver on the weekend. I hadn't seen him in a year, so that was great. We had a quick catch up there. So I do. It's really fun.
All right. So last time I saw you, I think, was at Big Walt at Matthew Tkachuk's his draft party back in 2016 in Buffalo. What's it like seeing like former teammates? I mean, you're going through it now with your son playing in the NHL, but I mean, former teammates, obviously, like Big Walt, you see these little kids run around the locker room and then they turned into NHL superstars.
Yeah, no, it's pretty awesome. And I don't know if you remember that group that we had there when I was in St. Louis going through those years. Al McInnes's kids were there. Corey Stillman's kids were there. Big Walt's kids. So they used to have a mini stick game that they would play on the carpet there while we were getting ready to go out on the ice. And there's some pretty impressive names that end up going on and having pretty good pro careers. And they're all, between the ages of 3 and probably 6 and 7 back then.
I know, that's crazy. And Ryan McInnes, obviously, was a second-round pick. He's still playing over in Germany, which is, listen,
Yeah.
you mentioned you played there. I mean, and we got a lot of St. Louis kids who are over playing in Germany. That's got to be a great experience for those kids.
Absolutely. And actually, my middle son, too, who aged out of junior hockey last year, he had some CIS interest. Grades weren't good enough. He needed to upgrade his schooling. So, through some of my connections, I was able to get him over there. He's playing there this year. My wife just went over there now. She's there visiting him. It's low level. It's not great hockey, but he's having a blast. And it's just, like I said, about our experience, just a great life experience to be over there.
Yeah. What are you seeing right now from an amateur side when you're scouting, Jeff, just in terms of the talent and ability? How many times do you feel like you have to watch a kid play to really, truly get a read on him?
That's a great question. We talk about it all the time. And the thing with these kids is they're 17. So, you can go in there and have expectations and know what you think you're going to watch. And then the kid doesn't have a great game. So you got to go back and see it. It's always great when you see their A game, so you know what you're getting. But like I said, they're young. They have warts. There's no perfect player at that age. So you kind of have to use your experience, I guess I would say, in evaluating and knowing that, you got to take the good with the bad and look at all the things they can do and not dwell on what they're not doing at this age. So, probably depends on the kid. The high-end kids 3-4 times, I would say you get a pretty good read on.
All right, so I'm going to get back to Jack, but I'm curious because you were coaching, and I remember reaching out to you prior to the 2008 draft. I mean, the Blues were drafting 4th overall. They got Alex Pietrangelo, but you had Luke Schenn on your team and Tyler Myers too, I believe, at the time, both defensemen
Right,
who
yeah.
went really high in the draft. So do you prefer the scouting over the coaching? Why'd you get out of coaching?
Coaching at the time in junior was just such a commitment. I was getting to the rink at 9 o'clock in the morning. We didn't practice till the kids got out of school, which was 3:30, and I wasn't getting home till 5 or 6 o'clock at night. So it was just long days. I wasn't able to even, let alone help with my kids' hockey. I wasn't even able to even go watch either practices or any of their games. So it was just at the time, having 4 young kids, the commitment was too much for me. I did enjoy it a lot though. And like you said, I had Tyler Myers. We won the championship in my second year. We lost the Memorial Cup final. Jamie Benn, Tyson Berry, We had great players, so that was really fun. And coaching those great young players, knowing that they're going on to have NHL careers, and you can be a small part of helping them, it was really, really enjoyable. But it was just the commitment at the time. It was too much for me.
And then you have Luke and Tyler, and they're both 1,000-game players in the NHL
Yeah.
on the back end. So I would imagine you were working with the defensemen specifically, right? I mean, why wouldn't you be? So what'd you think of those kids? No surprise, right, that they've gone on to have long careers?
No, not at all. No. And I think back then you knew they were super talented. I remember Larry Plow calling me about asking, because everyone was wanting to know who do you like better, Luke or Tyler, and they're both different players. Luke was actually a late birthday draft, so he was a year older, but he played a more heavy, rugged game. He was tough as nails. And Tyler was more raw at the time, but he was such a beautiful skater for a young kid at that age. So you could just see, the potential that was there, and you knew they were both going to go on and have NHL careers. So it was just more about teaching them a lot of the little details about, playing the position, and sort of, I guess I would say, expediting their pro careers so they didn't have to spend a lot of time, if any, in the American League learning that stuff. I think Tyler went on to, he did actually, after he left our junior team, he went on to win the Calder Trophy. So yeah, that part of coaching was very fun and very rewarding.
And I do remember you listening, because Luke was getting a lot of the attention. I mean, he went in the top 5, obviously, and you had Drew Doughty in that draft. You had all these guys.
Yeah.
But I remember you kept going back to Tyler too. Like, don't underestimate this kid. Like, this guy is,
Yeah. It was, like I said, just a little more raw at the time. Things still started to have to come together. He was very, very skinny and weak. We used to have to monitor his ice time. We found if he got over 22, 23 minutes, he got really tired, and then mental mistakes started happening for him. So we were trying to keep around the 7-minute mark each period. We were timing him and stuff. So it was just a matter of it all coming together for him. And by the time he was 19, you could really see how serious he took his career.
Yeah.
Putting on weight, training properly, eating properly. He was dialed in. So you knew what was going to happen for him. It was just a little bit of I guess, more of a later process for him than it was for Luke, who was naturally big and strong and had that sort of farm boy strength.
So a guy like Macklin Celebrini, because he didn't play in the Western League, but he grew up in Vancouver, then obviously came down and played in California when he moved with his family. Like, are you aware of that kid from a very young age, or you just not really?
Only being in BC and hearing about him. Same thing with Connor Bedard. You hear about these names. There's a couple kids now that are going to go high in the draft this year. The Rupp twins. They're 2 twins that play in Medicine Hat. Hadn't seen any of those kids at younger ages. The odd guy I will get to see because of playing against my kids when they were coming up, but I hadn't seen Celebrini, hadn't seen Bedard at the same age, but it's certainly lots of hype, and I had heard about them.
Anybody on the Canadian Olympic team now that you saw for years and years? I mean, even a kid like forgetting his name, who plays in Carolina, who's from Winnipeg.
Oh yeah, Seth. Well, yeah,
Jarvis,
Seth Jarvis. So yeah, he's the same age as Jack.
Okay.
So Jack and Seth played against each other. And I saw him at a younger age for sure. He was definitely a kid that you knew was going to be a star.
All right, so real quick, why was St. Louis such a good fit for you and playing under Joel Quenneville? Because I felt like once you got to St. Louis, I mean, your career just really took off.
Yeah, I would agree. It was weird. I wish I had Joel, and even Mike Kitchen was great for me as well there too. I wish I had him when I was younger, because I even though I think I was 30 or 31 when I got there, I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot about the position. I think Joel was ahead of his time as far as stick on puck, stuff like that. Little details. There's a big argument now about sliding on 2-on-1s for defensemen. Well, Joel was adamant that you had to slide. If Prongs made a horrible pinch and it was a 2-on-1 on me and I didn't slide, Joel was mad at me for not sliding, and not mad at Prongs for making a horrible pinch, So there was just a lot of things. It was just a good fit at the time. I still felt like, even though I had been up and down, I could play in the league. I had confidence in my ability, and it was great for me.
Yeah, you were such a good fit, and you just kind of played your game. Like, you didn't try to come outside of who you were. You just you were so consistent, like reliable. You knew what you were going to get every single night. So did you play more with Prongs or Al during your time here? I guess who'd you play more with?
Probably Probably pretty equal. From what I can remember, I remember a little bit with Al when I first got there, and then Barrett came in, and then he played pretty much, I think, the whole season with Al, and then I was moved with Prongs. So probably equal, I would say.
All right, so take me into the mind of a teammate of Al McGee. Who was harder emotionally? Like, if you made a mistake,
You know the answer to that.
who was going to give it to you, Jeff?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a pretty it was Prong.
Yeah.
But he was never disrespectful. Every once in a while it was even sometimes it was just a stare. But the other thing too is if he ever made a mistake, you weren't able to say anything to him. He didn't make many, but he didn't always acknowledge his own mistakes as well.
No. But Al McInnes, can you describe the intensity he played with, though? Because he's a super intense player.
Yeah, and just an intense guy, and between the two of them, I would say it was Al's room. I couldn't believe what a leader he was. I didn't know much about him, just playing against him a little bit. I didn't really know what his personality was like, but when I got there, I just couldn't believe what a leader he was, and just a good all around person. But he ran the room, and you know, Prongs was an emotional guy, obviously, but Al was just an even keel guy, knew what to say at the right time, and he was just a tremendous leader. That's the biggest takeaway I got. Not only he won the Norris the one year that I was there.
Mm-hmm.
He was phenomenal, but yeah, everything about him was great.
You guys had a lot of leaders, though, because Scott Mellenby came into the organization. You had Dallas Drake
Yeah,
there. You had
yeah.
Big Walt. You had Dougie Waite.
Dougie Waite, exactly. Yeah.
How'd all these
Yeah.
personalities come together?
Well, I think it was Al. I'd keep going back to Al. Al sort of kept everyone in check. There was no egos in there. I mean, Big Walt was Big Walt, but Al was the guy that kept everyone in check.
Wow. In Quenville, right? I mean, he was able to.
Yeah, and Joel for sure, but yeah. But yeah.
What do you remember about the late Pavel Dimitri? I remember talking to Pavel used to always say Finner, whatever. I would be bugging him, whatever. He'd always say Finner, trying to get me away from him or whatever. Or he'd always accuse me of wearing a rental when I started wearing suits back in the day, something you obviously wouldn't remember. But it's just little interactions like that. But he was so talented.
He was.
How good was he with Big Walt specifically? I mean, the three of them, along with Scott Mellenby, were unbelievable together.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you remember too the slight cycling Slovaks when we had Hanzus and Barteko, how well they played together.
Oh yeah.
But the one thing about Pav that I remember the most is how much he just loved scoring goals. Like nobody celebrated, nobody had as much joy as Pav when he scored goals. That's what he was all about. But a great person, obviously, fit in well, quieter, but had a great sense of humor. Just a fantastic guy, but he loved scoring goals.
Lubos Barteko, man, I love that you just brought him up because he was here in St. Louis and he was working with our AAA Blues program here in St. Louis recently. He now lives in Nashville, but he was the one that found and brought over Jakub Dobis to St. Louis, who played midget hockey here, who's now playing with the Montreal Canadiens. So,
oh yeah.
So there's always a connection there. So getting back to your son, Jack. So how old's your youngest child now? Is he's not your youngest, is he?
No, Jack is the second oldest. I have a daughter, and then Jack's next. My youngest guy is 19. He plays in the Western Hockey League still in Victoria.
Okay. So 3 boys, they were all players. Did your daughter play too?
No, she was a soccer player.
Okay. I'm with you. My daughter plays soccer too. So, all right. So Jack, always a big kid, but he was a high draft pick, right? Coming into the Western League. Describe who the Blues are getting now for the fans.
Jack was always a big kid when he was younger. So it was, he was really smart as a young player. His skating was always a little funky. He'd go through these coordination stages, so he was always trying to catch up to his body, So that was part of the reason why he ended up being a forward. Anytime when he was, 5, 6 years old, they stick him on the fence, he'd just stand in front of the net. So I always wanted him to chase the puck like the rest of the kids, be in the part of the pack and get his feet moving and try and develop his skating a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so once he started to play out up front, then he never went back to D. They didn't like it at all. But, you know, he was always a really smart player. He had some skill. He's an athletic kid. But he was always a head taller than everybody. So he had that kind of going for him, which was good and bad. He was a high Bantam pick. I think he was fifth or sixth overall in the Bantam draft. Had a good junior career and then second in the NHL draft. So I think he always sort of projected as a bottom six, reliable, two-way sort of center. He's really taken face-offs as part of his identity and knows how important that is. So he's working on that and always trying to improve on that. Always improving on his physical play, playing heavy, finishing checks, you know, stuff like that. But he's got some sneaky good skill. He'll make some plays. You'll see, you know, over time, he'll make some really nice plays, and he's got some hockey sense. So, yeah, I hope it works out for him there because, you know, I think he's an NHL player. It's just a matter of, you know, how he develops and what the ceiling is going to be as he work his way up, be more than a fourth line center and become a third line center and a penalty killer. And we'll see.
Yeah. So who have you talked to? Any former teammates? I mean, have you been in touch with Al or anybody else since they picked him up off waivers?
No, actually, just some of their amateur scouts who knew him well when he was 17 and are happy they got him. But I haven't talked to any of my former guys there.
When you going to come into St. Louis and catch a game?
I'm catching the first one next week.
Okay. You know, we're going to have to get you on TV then, Jeff. That's what it means. Okay. So I'll be coming.
Sneaking in and sneaking out.
I'll be coming to find you. I know where to find you, Jeff.
Yes.
Hey, but it's exciting. He's wearing number 37 too. He was born in St. Louis, so it's a great story and gives us an opportunity to talk about your career once again here in St. Louis, because I know you were a big part of those teams that were really, really good, man. You guys had some really good teams, Jeff. You know, back in the early 2000s too. So all the best, man. Great to have him here in St. Louis, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, Andy. Appreciate it.
Okay, take care.
Take care.
Yep. All right, that was Jeff Finley. Always great to catch up with him, and just a great guy, and obviously was a really good player. Man, I love watching him play back in the day here in St. Louis too. We've got the Olympic Games starting now, so unfortunately we couldn't record until couldn't wait till after the games were over today. So we'll have another show for you next week. Obviously, we'll be back into the NHL season next Friday, with the Blues picking things back up on Thursday. Looking forward to that. We've got the trade deadline right around the corner, so a lot of things happening with the Blues here over the course of the next few weeks. First Community brings us hockey sense each and every week. Again, sign your son or daughter up for the Little Blues program. They got great banking options, great ways to save money and to utilize your money in the right way. So check out firstcommunity.com. Blue Note Roofing, 314-920-5713. Lordo's Diamonds, Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop. All our great sponsors, Frontenac Detailing, Kirkwood Fence, everybody. Support our sponsors and allow us to continue to bring you content here on Hockey Sense at Half Coast Studios. We thank Aiden for all of his help. Jamal Mayers, who came in earlier in the show, and of course, Jeff Finley, his son Jack, now a member of the St. Louis Blues. All right, I'm Andy Strickland, reminding you to keep your head up and your stick on the ice. Go USA! And we'll do it again next Friday. Have a great weekend, St. Louis.